we want to be the last name on your lips.
That is awesome.
He carries the books in the funeral home. His name is Bob. I call him Funeral Bob. And I said, well, Funeral Bob, I don't know how appropriate these books are for a funeral home. And he said, we don't only bring dead people. And I was like, all right, well, I'm certainly not going to keep you from doing whatever you want. But so apparently they're on the mantle.
Wow.
I've signed books in the funeral home. They had an art and wine walk. I was sitting in the funeral home signing books while people were drinking sangria.
That's great.
I love my town. I won't lie. We just had Jubilee Day. This was the 91st year. So it started out as a place for the farmers to come after they had done everything they needed to on their land. Then it lays for a while and there's not much they need to do. I think it started in April, but now it's the third Thursday of June every year. This was our 91st year. 70,000 people come in to just our town, as I said in that article that I wrote for you guys on the newsletter. It's just so funny. You walk into the firehouse and everyone knows you. And people really are watching to see if I'm going to have another funnel cake. So.
Who is your favorite character that you've written, and what makes that character so special for you?
Oh, I saw that question and I was like, how am I going to answer that? They're all my favorite in their own way. I will say that Ivy from the Ivy Morris Mysteries is one of my favorite, mainly because she was my first. I stumbled and played around with her a lot and she taught me a lot, and I just adore how awkward she is. However, I do have to say that I really do love Tallie. She has been an absolute blast to write simply because she has a ton of flaws and she owns every single one of them. I just find it such a pleasure to be able to work with her family and her friends. Having her pitted against Burton, such a fun time to be able to pull together her thoughts and kind of live with her while I'm writing the books. I am starting a new series and it's going to be set out in California. And it's going to be off the coast of California on Catalina Island. And her name is going to be Whitney. The series itself will be called Wit and Whiskers because she has a cat named Whiskers. I'm enjoying her too. All of my characters tend to be a little bit of me. And hopefully it's the good part. Not always. Sometimes it's the bad part. And so with Whitney, I'm going in a little bit different direction. But I hope I'll love her too. And I get more comments from readers about Ivy than I do about anyone else. And I think it's because Ivy is very awkward. She knows that she has a lot to learn and is willing to dive in and learn it. I had a reader who I guess had been going through throat cancer, and she ran up to me at Malice Domestic my first year and said, "Are you Misty Simon?" And I was like, well, that depends. If it's something good, then yes. And if it's something bad, I'll go find her for you. She said, when I was going through throat cancer, I read the Ivy Morris Mystery Series and it really got me through such a bad time. And I said, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I have to go cry my makeup off and then fix it. She said, no, really. And then I was having a bad day the other day. And I just thought, if Ivy can get through this, then I can too. And I still get choked up about that. I mean, the fact that somebody that was created in my imagination can make people feel like they can get through something or even just take you through something. Sometimes I call myself Calgon. For those of us who are in the know, it takes you away. And that, I think, is the best fiction. Allows you to escape whatever you have going on. And so to have somebody take the time to come up and tell me that I helped them escape is just, it's awesome.
What made you pick the funeral home for your basic site on your series?
I think I picked the funeral home mainly because it hadn't been done a lot. There are a lot of coffee houses. There are a lot of inns. There are a lot of bookstores, libraries. And I thought, what is something that would go with the theme of murder mysteries, but hasn't been done a lot? I will tell you that it's been both a blessing and a curse to have them set at a funeral home, because there are some people who say, oh, I'd buy this for my mom, but she's in her 80s and we just went and planned her funeral. So I don't really want to buy her a book set at a funeral home. And I was like, okay, no, that's valid. I'll give you that one. That's understandable. I also really liked the titles that I was coming up with. Since the first title was going to be Cremains of the Day, I thought, you're either going to have to cremate the body or you're going to have it have something to do with a funeral home. The funeral home here on Main Street is huge. It's 3 stories. It's like half a block, and it does have the tunnel from Cremains of the Day. That's actually the photo that I took of that tunnel with the hearse pulled out, and then they drew it off of that. But that actually does exist. They have a tunnel that goes underneath the building into the back so that you can park the hearses back there. And if it's snowing or raining, you can have your final goodbye in the portico as opposed to going anywhere and needing an umbrella.
Wow.
Very practical.
And now he owns the storefront next door and is turning that into, I think it's called the Gathering Place. And so I went to a funeral there last year. They actually just move you straight across the tunnel into the Gathering Place, and they serve lunch. This person had been cremated and they brought them in and put them on a pillow so that they could have lunch with us. I actually addressed that in one of the books. There's the woman who reenacts her funeral at least twice a year and pays to reenact her funeral because she wants to make sure that everything's perfect when it comes time. If I do get to write a 6th book, it's going to be the real thing.
Wow.
Well, it sounds like that funeral home is a one-stop shop that you don't have to go anywhere else. You've dipped your toes into writing other genres. What brought you back to mysteries?
You know, it's interesting with the paranormal, because I have the Adventures in Ghost Sitting series. Those do have a mystery aspect to them. They are short stories. I had started out actually writing romance, and I like them, but I'm not the best at them, I guess, because I don't like people to struggle that hard. And I enjoy, when it comes to the mystery aspect, I like to make that hard. But when people are falling in love, I don't like to destroy them just to bring them back. I love reading those kinds of stories, but writing them was harder. And so I had done contract to do paranormal mysteries with them with their Eve Harlequin line. They ended up turning them into romances. That was not exactly planned. I did the mysteries for a while with the Ivy Morris mysteries. That was actually my first book published, was the Ivy Morris mysteries for Poison Ivy. While I loved them, I was not getting any bites on them from publishers because they're a little bit racier than your normal cozy mystery reader loves. They have words in them. They have swearing in them. Well, I am okay with that. Not everyone is. It wasn't until about 4 years ago, I was at the Romance Writers of America conference, and I got to talk to Essie Soga from Kensington, and she said, I really want cozy mysteries that are a little bit spicier. And I was like, stop, because I've been doing that for 10 years. And she said, well, send me something. And so Cremains of the Day was born.
That's great.
I am planning on staying in the mystery. I mean, I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy reading romances, and I have a lot of friends who write romances, but I'm definitely better at killing people.
That's great. I'm glad you've got a good talent.
You're our kind of girl.
I don't want anybody knocking on my door.
Can you tell our listeners about your wonderful collection of 50s flare dresses?
I sure can. When you are built like I am, I have a very short waist. So if you put me into a regular dress, I look like a boss. Just how life works. I had seen one online and I thought, I just want to try it. It had swans. Then I found shoes that had swans also. And so I bought the whole thing and I thought, what the heck? We'll just try it. Then I fell in love because it actually was very flattering to my figure and made me feel wonderful. I think that you have to wear clothes, which you really should wear clothes often, out and about, then you really should feel wonderful about what you're wearing. I love the skirts underneath them. I have 6 petticoats now. Yeah. My husband said the other day, is it just me or do the dresses have their own closets? And I said, well, do we want to talk about the 40,000 comic books do you have? And he said, okay. So yes, they do have them. I do have 70 of them. I won't lie. I have a lot. They were very inexpensive when I was buying. They were averaging like $10 a piece. The petticoats for $3. I didn't spend a ton of money on them. And now they're like $30 and $40 a piece. And I'm like, yeah, no, I wear them a lot, but I'm not buying it for $70. Sorry. I wear a lot of them. I buy them online. I will just caution you that if you do buy them online, buy up as far as size goes, because I am like a 14 normally and I have to get a 2XL, which in American sizes translates into like a 22, but they're made overseas. And so I guess they have a different idea of what a 22 is. So just keep that in mind. I wouldn't want you to get one and find out that it doesn't fit because you are not shaped like a Barbie doll. I do find them a lot of fun, and they're big conversation starters, which is hysterical because people will run up and say, I love your dress. And no matter who you are, I could know you for the past 20 years. I will still answer with, thanks, it has a petticoat.
Well, you did look fabulous every time we saw you at Malice Domestic.
I actually have one with a graveyard on. Next year, look for the graveyard. And I like the different shoes that you put with them. To me, especially when you're at a conference or when you're at a book signing, for me, people are able to run up and say, I love your dress. And then they feel less intrusive, I think is the right word for that, because it is a conversation starter. It is something that they can come right up and say to me.
And you found your style that you really look great in them. I have to say, you rock that look.
Yes, you do.
I bought these really cute, they were like empire waisted shirts, kind of, because they followed kind of the line of what I wear. I thought they would look good. No.
I know what you mean.
From someone who is very comfortable in what they're wearing and someone who isn't, it really boosts your confidence to feel like you look really nice. I always do. And I enjoy posting the pictures of them. People are always commenting on, oh my gosh, what dress is she wearing today? And it's hysterical because when I do go to conferences, that is the first thing that people are looking for. They don't care what book I've written. They just want to know what dress I'm wearing.
Well, we look forward to the graveyard one next year. You stated that the reason you like cozies is because there is a big serving of justice at the end. Have you had any instances in your real life where you got to witness that yourself?
I was thinking about that question. I'm not entirely certain that there were any big ones. Definitely there have been smaller instances throughout my life. I've always enjoyed anything Agatha Christie. I still love Murder, She Wrote like there's no tomorrow. While I enjoy reading about people falling in love, I definitely enjoy reading about people and writing about people who get their comeuppance in the end. I would say that my grandfather was in the Navy for 32 years and my dad was in the Navy for 8 years. That's a through line, I think, in their lives that was very much instilled from the beginning, is to do the right thing, or the right person is getting the justice served. And so I think it was more about that than it was anything in my own life that made me feel like that's what I wanted to write. I also enjoy the puzzle. In the talk that you guys had sat in on at Malice Domestic, it is a game. You guys need to be able to beat me to the end without actually reading the end first. Please don't do that. But and I'm like, you read the end first, didn't you? And they're like, yes. And I said, well, then you don't win. That's how that works.
You cheated.
Absolutely. That's the word.
I have a funny story to tell you. My son, who loves to read, he reads all the time. When he was in 3rd grade, his teacher encouraged kids to read the end of the book first. He came home and told me that. And I said, if you ever do that, I'll slam your fingers in the book.
Yeah, but boy, Crime and Punishment would have done a number on it.
I fully agree with you.
Misty, what's up next for you? You talked about your new series. Do you have any new events? Carpet Diem is due to come out shortly. What else have you got going on?
I just signed a contract for the next Adventures in Ghost Sitting, which is called I Wear My Ghost Goggles at Night. I know.
I love your titles.
I love titles so much. That particular series is actually about a woman who owns a junkyard, and everything in the junkyard has a ghost attached to it, and they're all very badly behaved. She's very much into the 80s. So she still wears jelly shoes and lace gloves and uses Aquanet, a lot of Aquanet, because she fans wear the way I used to when I was in 9th grade.